What's up? It's Tom. The Minnesota Twins are going to start searching for a new manager, and I have made my pick. I'm not going to just throw out some names. I have one very specific name to throw out that I really want to see as the next manager of the Minnesota Twins. But first, I did the video yesterday reacting to the news that Rocco Baldelli was fired. But I want to take a moment just to send out a sincere thank you to Rocco Baldelli. I think this is the time to make a move, but I also will look back on Rocco Baldelli's time here and be able to focus on a lot of great positive memories. See him winning Manager of the Year back in 2019, probably the most fun regular season in Twins history. Obviously, things didn't go well in the postseason that year, but still lots of very fun and positive memories to hold on to there. And then, of course, him being the manager at the helm of the team that finally broke the playoff losing streak. Those are two huge feathers in Rocco Baldelli's cap. This guy's going to be completely fine. So if it seems like I'm moving quick on from Rocco, he's going to be fine. He's made a nice career for himself. He gets paid next year. He gets to sit home with his young family. What a great, obviously he would rather be managing, I'm sure, but what a great opportunity for Rocco Baldelli in 2026 just to take a moment with his family. And whenever he wants to come back to baseball, he's probably going to be able to do pretty much whatever he wants. If he wants to be a manager, there'll be teams interested. If he wants to be in a front office, there'll be teams interested. So I don't think there's any reason to shed a tear for Rocco Baldelli right now. This guy's going to be fine. And, perhaps if anything, he's getting a good deal getting out of what's to come in 2026 for the Twins, to be completely honest. So moving on, though, again, setting our sights toward the future. Again, looking around, I was trying to get a list of candidates, but I just got obsessed with this one guy. And I think he is the most deserving guy out there who has not been a major league manager yet. This person has played in parts of 6 MLB seasons. He had a 16-year pro playing career, so a decade of playing in the minor leagues as well. I think he was in indie ball even for a little bit. And then from 2010 to 2014, he coached in the Red Sox system. That included a couple years of managing, I believe, in the GCL there. And then in 2015, he was the Braves minor league field coordinator, so working on across their entire minor leagues on a lot of defensive positioning and instruction. And then in 2016 through 2020 was the Dodgers first base coach. And then his current job since 2021 has been Tigers bench coach. Some of you may have already figured out who this is, but I asked in that Rocco video from yesterday, do you want somebody brand new to managing or coaching, or do you want kind of your crusty, proven veteran? And this guy is actually kind of a perfect in-between. This guy has never been a manager at the major league level, so he does have that freshness. He is a new thing to try. It's not like he's failed at this anywhere else. But at the same time, look at this resume. This is not like Rocco Baldelli was hired, out of a front office. He had no kind of coaching or managing experience. Again, I don't think that went terribly, but that's just not the way I don't think I would ever go, to be honest. I'm not saying it's never the right move, but I wouldn't go that route. Kind of boiling it down, and again, just putting this another way, this guy has 16 years of experience playing pro ball, plus 6 years experience coaching the minors, 10 years experience coaching in the majors, and he's still only 50. How is it even possible? This guy was drafted at 18, and he has been in pro ball every single summer of his life since then. Over 30 years in pro ball, and he's only 50 years old. A little bit older than Rocco. And this is certainly not like you're young, like Rocco was he was like, there's guys on the team that were older than Rocco at points of his managerial career. So it's not going that direction. It's not going the complete, maybe 60-plus-year-old grizzled vet, proven manager. It's kind of another option. And another thing that I think is an interesting element to consider is he has a son, and maybe this will give it away to somebody too. He has a son who's currently a top prospect. So not just that he's been so close in the game, he's never really left the game all these years. So he's evolving with the game. He even has an interesting perspective, I think, there that may be able to help him relate to current day players more, and that he has a personal connection. His son is going through that process right now. So that might be kind of a X factor that he has that's interesting. If you haven't figured it out by now, George Lombard is my pick. Again, looking around, there is nobody that you can find who hasn't managed yet who is more deserving than George Lombard. Now, maybe there's other managers out there who deserve a second chance or a third chance or a fourth chance, and I understand there are those young hotshots like Rocco Baldelli once was out there, who maybe don't have the resume of George Lombard, but they're just very talented. They've proven themselves in other ways. But if you just want to look at somebody's resume and boil it down to that, I think it's pretty much impossible to find anybody who's never been a manager before who has a more impressive resume. And then just seeing the things people say about him. This was from a 2002 article from The Athletic, so it's kind of earlier on in his Tigers tenure. But this was A.J. Hinch. I think A.J. Hinch is a pretty special manager. I think he was a pretty big piece of the puzzle in how the Astros got turned around. I think he's a pretty big piece of the puzzle in how the Tigers are turning things around. Timing-wise, maybe that's hard to say with the Tigers going through a bit of a collapse of their own recently, but I still think that team is way ahead of their window of what I was expecting their rebuild to look like. But this is A.J. Hinch back in 2022. Speaking about George Lombard, he's a passionate coach that I've seen in the intricacies of the sport. That comes out in our base running. That comes out in our outfield play. He's a continuous learner. He's a consistent presence. I don't know if I've ever seen him have a bad day. That's manager. You want to hear that about all that about a potential manager. And then former Twins prospect Akil Baddoo down at the bottom there. Having George there and having that backbone just helping us throughout everything is crucial. He's a hard ass, but at the same time, he has fun and a good time. So, again, like, in addition to the resume, you look at what people say about this guy, and it just really shines. And I know he interviewed for that position that Hinch eventually got, so he has been in the mix for managerial jobs in the past. This is the dude. This is the dude, in my opinion. Now, I'm not saying if you have somebody else in mind that you're wrong. The thing I kept saying about Rocco Baldelli is there's only 30 of these jobs. It's an incredible privilege to get a chance to ever manage a Major League Baseball team. Of course, at any given time, there's like 50 great candidates to manage because, again, there's such a shortage of these jobs, and there is no shortage in talented baseball minds, guys with great resumes. But I thought about throwing out maybe a dozen names, but just George Lombard really sticks out to me, and I hope he gets a chance, if it's not here or somewhere else, because he deserves it. But thanks for checking this one out. I appreciate you. We'll talk again soon.